some positive news. I want to recap a couple things. I want to go over some strategies for the 21st of the month, and I want to give you some some ideas on how to make sure you are on track to finish January strong. Okay. Good morning. Who wants to share some good news? Darlene, I like that picture. I don't think I've ever seen that picture before.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right. Who else? Who has some good news they
I
want to
do
share?
too.
Who has some good news?
I'll share.
All right. This is Rose Sanders. You want to tell us who you are, Rose? This is Rose's first session with us. She's new to our office and new to the business, and she's a couple weeks away from being done with her old job. And y'all better watch out because she's been impressing me.
Well, that's pretty much what I'm sharing. So I'm going into work today and I am putting in my 2-week notice for my current job. I've been there for about 5 years now. I'm on our sales and marketing team. So it's a big change, but I'm excited.
Beautiful.
So I'm excited. It's a big day.
Good for you.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Rose.
Thank you.
You will be looking back on this exact day for a long, long time. So
Yeah.
what a cool experience. Good for you. Okay. Who else wants to share something? Okay.
Yeah, I'll share something.
All right. Good.
So I was with a couple last night looking at a house, and we were sort of waiting in line for another people that were in the house looking at it, and yet another couple came up with their agent, and so we were all standing around in the driveway, waiting our turn. But the conversation started talking about the market, and everything that we talked about yesterday with going through all those charts and everything was so helpful to me, and just and I know Greta likes to talk about scripts and how they feel so unnatural, but using some of those and just internalizing, knowing the information and being able to talk about the market just casually was just great, especially for the young couples that were like, gosh, well, I know it's a great seller's market, but what about buying? I was like, and I told him, gosh, money has never been cheaper. This is actually a great time to buy too, if you really think about it. And so we had this great discussion, and it was just really nice to be able to fall back on all that information and be able to use it. And people, I know they appreciated it. That made them feel a whole lot better about why they were there, to maybe buy this house or look at it, whatever. So
you may not be able to put your finger on this right now, but they feel so much more comfortable in partnership with you than they did before they met you. And it simply came from you helping them understand more about how to be successful in this market. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just because it's a buyer's market or a seller's market doesn't mean a buyer shouldn't buy. It just means a buyer needs some extra help to make sure they're protected and they get what they want. Right.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you sharing that. Scripts are really just about intentionality. Right? You're going to say the same thing over. If you're untrained, if you don't use scripts at all, and somebody says, well, how's the market? Or what's the process of buying a home or something? Or can you explain what an expired listing is or something? You're going to say the same thing over and over again. That's just our natural tendency. So it makes more sense to study a proven response that appeals to all different types of personalities and that is very clear. Right. And when you do that, you establish rapport a lot faster and you build the relationships like you were just describing. That's awesome. That's awesome. Were there any follow-up? Did you guys spend any more time looking through the Chartmaster slides? Was anyone else want to share some feedback on that? Does anyone have any questions on that material?
Well, Bill, I have 2 things. I have something to share,
and
I have something to tell you about Chartmasters. So I was debating on how I was going to start promoting my business on social media.
Okay.
And I was talking with Matthew about it. And Matthew had this great idea that he had already tried. And he's told me that he simply changed his career on Facebook and had like 500 people commenting and liking. And I was like, Matthew, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And so I tried it. And I had people contacting me left and right, people saying, oh my goodness, I didn't know. I'm going to, make sure to shoot you referrals. And I'm an agent here in this other state. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so easy.
That is awesome. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing that idea. Thank you, Shalina, for sharing that too. Guys,
Yeah.
I was talking with Matthew this morning. Guys, that is like database heaven, right? You're like, ooh, I'll take your information. Ooh, I'll take yours. Okay, you too, tag, smart plan, boom, boom, boom. I mean, remember the purpose of just about every interaction we have right now, guys, is data, right? It's getting data from our people on what's going on in their life and how we can serve them, and updating data, right? So if they say, oh, my daughter just got into Georgia Tech. Who? Daughter at Georgia Tech. Oh, we're going to the, Falcons game this week. Oh, we love Falcons, right? It's you're getting data and you're updating data constantly. Okay. So just so you know, Shalina, make sure that it's probably not going to be long before, and this is for everyone, it's probably not going to be long before you start getting referrals from that, right? Because people have built relationships with you and your other, your kind of free real estate life, if you will, and they know you're a hard worker, they know you're a person of compassion and integrity and these kind of things, and so they're likely going to want to support your business. So I would make sure that if you don't already have, this goes for everyone, if you do not already have a system in place to very, very quickly show your gratitude for the referral source, you need to think that through right away. Okay. So that could be like, sending a little gift card or a coffee card or thank you note, handwritten note, something like that. Every time you get a referral, don't thank them when you get paid. That's you're rewarding the wrong activity. You want to thank them when they send you the business. Okay, whether you get the business or not, it's irrelevant. You want to reward the behavior you want to see more of, which is the actual thinking of you and the connection. Does everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I posted this here before, but while we're kind of talking about it, I'll add it. It's a website called Note Card Cafe. You can get these things anywhere you want, but I've found that that's a really good resource for blank handwritten notes. They're nice and colorful. The card stock is a little thicker than average, and they come with envelopes. They're non-branded. I kind of prefer non-branded, and they're cheap. They're like, you can get like 72 of them for like $16 or $17. There's always deals going on too. So take a look at Note Card Cafe. Okay. You can also get things like, actually that's not on Note Card Cafe, but Venus was asking me yesterday about like a name tag. You can get that on like buildasign.com or, all kinds of sites like that. Red Store, I think it's called the KW Red Store, theredstore.com. They've got a bunch of KW kind of flair. Okay.
Bill, there
And
was one
Shalina, you had more to share too, right?
Yeah, about Chartmasters. So I had been reviewing the PowerPoint with Chartmasters, and I thought it was just amazing, the information I was learning. So the other day I went to get my hair done. And so I said, let me research some information about the surrounding area, because I know a couple of months back, my hairdresser had talked about her moving out of a rental house. And so when she was doing my hair, I was like, oh my goodness, well, the market for Atlanta, the inventory is tight, but it's a great time to sell a house. And I started talking about Grisham Park, how it had a lot of foreclosures. So the houses that were over there were 3% cheaper than they used to be. And she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. So then she started telling me about what she was looking for in a house and all of that good stuff. And I was like, I will get something to you.
Yes, beautiful.
So, yeah.
That is, what is more powerful? Saying the market is a little bit better than it used to be, or the market's 3% better than it used to be, or the market's, there's 3%, you can get 3% off of sales prices now, or you can, you might be able to get a little bit better of a price. What's more powerful, right? You remember when we talked about knowing the market each day, right? And we go to FMLS and we study the new listings that are on the market, right? Let me, I'll just take 3 seconds to show you guys this one more time because it's really powerful. And I think that everyone should be doing this every single day, is going into this thing called Market Watch. It's on your main Matrix, My Matrix homepage, right? And you can set up these custom searches here. I've just got Metro Atlanta in general. Over the last 7 days, there's been 1,498 listings, new listings, okay? And 1,005 homes have gone under contract, okay? Over the last 3 days, there's been 798 listings. If you were to say, hey, the market's busy, they're like, sounds like she read that somewhere, or sounds like somebody told her that, right? But if you say, hey, would it surprise you to know that over the last 3 days, there's been 798 new listings? If I'm hearing, if Shalina said that to me, I'd be like, damn, she knows the market. That is the person I want to work with. You see what I'm saying? That is awesome, Shalina. Great job on that. Great job.
Hey, Bill,
Yes.
it's Kathy. Got a quick question.
Okay.
I am more familiar with Georgia MLS, right?
Yep.
I'm not asking what's the difference, but why is it more preferred to use the FMLS? Because I'm using Georgia MLS. I don't know. I was taught more, more on that. One office where I came from uses that more than the other.
Yeah, this is I'm open to hearing other people's thoughts on this, Pam, you especially, but, or even Twantis, but I've always thought of, you tend to find, first of all, FMLS is not, many brokerages, if you're not like a big box brokerage, they may not even require it because, there's extra fees to be a part of FMLS, right? When the deal closes. So some agents or some brokers that their broker doesn't, or some agents whose broker does not require them to put the listing in FMLS will choose not to because they want to avoid the fee. Now, what you should be hearing is that in the best interest of your seller? The answer is a clear no on that. Okay.
Well, yeah, because I get putting it in both, it's
Right.
just
So
or researching it on both, but I guess my comfort level is more with Georgia MLS.
So I'm not gonna tell you that the system that you're using is wrong or not the best one or something. I am gonna tell you that you should be intentional about learning the other one too, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I know actually very little about Georgia MLS. I have always been on FMLS. Now, what you tend to find, and this is a bit of a blanket statement here, what you tend to find is if you're going to be doing business like north of I-20, most everything you're going to see is an FMLS. If you're going to be doing business south of I-20, Georgia MLS tends to be a better service.
Oh, I've never heard that. I didn't know that. How it's split like that, or how it could be split like that.
Yeah, like
Can you say it
Janice is
again?
saying, my experience is that FMLS is more centered around Atlanta and the close suburbs. Georgia MLS is more on the outskirts and kind of south of the city. Does anyone else want to comment on that? Pam, you're on the call, right?
Bill,
Yes.
I can say that FMLS I found more homes on versus Georgia MLS. And when I cross-referenced, I found that what I was looking on in FMLS wasn't always necessarily on Georgia MLS. So I started with Georgia and then I just flipped over to the FMLS, and that's all I use, well, predominantly what I use now.
I tend to, maybe it's probably because I haven't spent nearly as many hours on Georgia MLS as I have on FMLS. I like the interface of FMLS a little bit better. If you are kind of on the outskirts of Metro Atlanta, I would encourage you to learn a little bit more about Georgia MLS and learn their systems. Both products, Georgia MLS and FMLS, have tons of free training. But
Right, yeah.
for those that know one and don't know the other, I'm going to challenge you and encourage you to learn the other product. So if you need it, or your client needs you to need it, then you know how to work it. Okay.
Bill, can I ask something? So it's possible that something could be on one and not the other, so we wouldn't want to miss something.
Yes,
That is
I'll
true.
answer that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true. Yes,
And I
that
will
is
answer
true.
that. And like Bill said, a lot of this, there are smaller brokerages, even on the north side, that will only list on Georgia MLS, honestly, because it's less expensive.
Right.
We pay per closing on FMLS. If it's on FMLS, we pay per closing.
I usually
Georgia
don't see it
MLS.
the other way, where it's on FMLS and not on Georgia MLS. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I have, but it's unusual, and I don't send both to clients because that's just information overload and such a duplication. But I will go, especially in a market like this, I will go and look on Georgia MLS when I have a client looking, just to see, is there something on there that, isn't on FMLS that maybe, so maybe it's not being shown to as many people.
Yeah,
Right.
I've used,
And then-
Bill, like I was saying, I've used both, but my comfort level is with Georgia. But I'll reference, if I'm searching, I'll, cross-reference the other one to make sure that it's there too. Because I've heard that when, one may be there and not on the other one. So, but anyway, I just wanted to.
No,
I
I,
guess
I appreciate you bringing that up. I think that helped a number of people here. I would, though, challenge you. You can take 1 or 2 free FMLS classes, get some free CE, and learn how to use a product that you're not familiar with, and probably really impress you and really impress those that you're working with.
Yeah, because Georgia MLS, I learned how to use the mapping tool. Now I'm starting to look at the FMLS, and I'm like, oh God, here we go again, another learning curve.
Hey, it'll take you 10 minutes to learn that. Don't let it stress you out.
Yeah, they have the mapping curve tool with FMLS too.
Yes, I know. It's just another.
All right,
another product
we're
to
going to
learn.
stay
Thank you.
positive. If it's a 10-minute project we got to learn, we are the professional.
We are
right?
getting it done.
It's like if you were a doctor and there was like a new cough that came out, what are you going to say? Like, oh, I don't deal with that cough, right? I don't know that cough, right? No, you're a doctor. Learn about the damn cough.
I will learn about FMLS.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Who wants to share some thoughts on our session with Deb yesterday? Did you guys like that? Was that helpful? What did you hear? What did you learn? Hello? Come on now. This thing working?
I thought she was great.
Tell me more.
I liked her thought that every morning you wake up unemployed. That's a real motivator, and that definitely helped me.
Okay, for those that weren't on the call, Michael, what does that mean to you? Tell me more about that, please.
Well, it means that when you own your own business, you've got to put in the work. You've got to, you start every day. Basically, if you don't have any clients, you're unemployed. You really need to go out and you need to spend the time doing the things that generate the business. You've got to do lead generation. You've got to do script practice. You've got to time block. You've got to spend. You got to put in the hours, and every morning it starts new. That's really what I got out of it. I thought it was great.
I think
Very
that was
motivational for me.
that's a fantastic takeaway. Anyone else want to share anything?
Can I share?
Yeah, please. Victoria? Go ahead.
And Bill, sorry, I don't mean any offense by this at all, but it was just nice. It was nice.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Hold on, let me mute.
Okay.
I muted you for a second as a joke. Go ahead. Start.
Oh,
over.
you're good. It was, Deb basically said the same thing that you tell us every single day. And it just kind of cemented in my head that everything that you tell us actually works, because there's someone else that has now said, yes, you have to time block, you have to manage your time, you have to make your phone calls, you have to lead gen. There's no way around it. So it's not, for me, it was like, this is not just Bill saying this. This works. This is how you run your business.
Yes.
Period.
I appreciate you saying that. I certainly don't take any offense to that. It's actually intentional, right? Right. I have a group here of people that, you know, the voice can get stale after a while, right? And they hear the same message over and over. And, you know, we send them off to like Bold or 3612-3 or Family Reunion or Mega Camp or have a session with another coach. And they're like, wow, it adds validity to what I've been saying. Not because I feel like I'm not valid enough. It's just that it's more evidence that one more person has adopted these tactics and won. And I don't want to pick apart your words too much, but this is an interesting idea, Victoria, is you don't actually have to do any of that. Okay. Success is optional, right? If you do it, there's a very good chance you'll be successful. If you don't do it, there's a very good chance you won't be, right? So there's no mandate that you do 100% of what we're saying. We're just showing you the way that successful people do it, right? So while of course we believe that this works, you know, success is optional. It's a choice. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay. Anyone else want to share their thoughts?
Michael, thank you for saying you wake up every morning unemployed. I was saying that to myself before I went to bed last night, like I'm going to wake up unemployed in the morning. Another thing that she said was practicing scripts every day for 5 years, because I was like, oh, you know, once you just read this a couple of times, then, you know, you're good, you out of that. But reading it for 5 years means like after 2 years, you're still getting that vocabulary in your mouth and getting those words in your mouth and getting comfortable with that. So I have found an accountability partner to every day. We practice for 20 days a script.
Love it. And two comments on that. Number one is it's kind of like after 2 years, you're in second grade. And after 3 years, you're in third grade, right? And after 4 years, you're in fourth grade. Like we're always getting sharper and better. Now, if you guys don't know, Matthew is an actor on Broadway. Like this is a man that has been dealing with scripts his entire life, and he's speaking this way. You see what I'm saying? Okay.
Your note is awesome.
What's that?
You see, what your note about fishing is awesome.
Oh, I don't know if she's talking to us or not. Okay, guys, I want to point out two things about the 21st of the month. First, does anybody know what happens on the 21st of the month at Keller Williams?
Profit share.
Okay, and did you happen to get any profit share this week, Pam?
No.
For this month? Okay, I'm looking around to see if anyone probably got any. I don't think anyone probably did. Guys, the 21st of the month, Keller Williams automatically deposits. You don't have to touch it. Money into your account if the people that you attracted to Keller Williams have created profit for their local office. Okay. It is an incredible, I think KW, let me submit. All right, we'll talk about that, Shalina. I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you didn't get any money on
I was just playing.
Oh, well, if you didn't get any money on the 21st, what it's telling you is that you have not helped any local offices or any offices create profit, right? Outside of your own, right? So it's a wonderful opportunity. Next week, I'm going to talk a little bit about profit share. I've included 2 videos for a long, long time on the weekly email about profit share from late last summer, I believe. It is something that I'm pretty passionate about. I've been pretty successful at. Look, I'm simply just sharing the my story, and I'm sharing the opportunity and the you know, more about kind of how this company has impacted my life with others, and it's just resonating, right? It's just helping others get what they want. It's simple as that. Okay. I'm going to encourage you to watch those 2 videos on the weekly email if you have not watched those. It's not, you know, it's not as important as your database and these kind of things, but don't ignore it, okay? Because next month they're going to deposit money into my account again, okay? And the following month, same thing. And it could be, incredibly substantial, incredibly substantial. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you about with the 21st of the month is, remember last week we talked about the 15th of the month protocol, and I encouraged you to adopt some new techniques and some new strategies, or kind of double down on some of your strategies so that you could make sure that you don't finish the month behind. Can anyone share with me something that they did this past week that they either did to a higher degree, or they changed something up in their kind of daily routine so that they could have more conversations or secure more appointments? Did anyone take on any new tasks?
I did.
Okay, Kathy, tell us, please. What'd you do?
I intentionally started running my mouth more that one day a week at the office. I always say I got the gift for gab, but I clam up, and you already know that. But anyway, intentionally, I started running my mouth at the office at the front desk, and all of a sudden, got 2 buyers.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. A lot of times
And
people clam up, by the way, because they don't know what to say.
well, that's definitely my
Right.
problem. You already know.
Presentations, chart masters, that is what to say. So once you get comfortable with what to say, then you feel more comfortable saying it. And then when you say it more, you get more clients. It's not rocket science. All right, keep going.
Well, that's it for me. So, but it was good, and I can't say it was a script. It was just, people talking. And then I just got more confident about what I already know,
Mm-hmm.
instead of hiding and acting like I don't know. It's almost like you know so much you're stupid and don't bring it out. But
Okay.
it came out. It came out.
Okay. Okay.
I even had one, my office manager say, "Oh, I got a lender for you." She's, just everybody started engaging, and it was great.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Just, I'm not suggesting you didn't do this, but just make sure you're always trying to kind of tweak the conversation so it's
Yeah.
about them and not about you, like breathing.
Oh, that's all it
conditions on
was.
them. Yeah.
It was, exactly.
All right, beautiful. Good work on that.
It went
Was there
really
anyone
good.
else that changed their strategy?
I was very similar to Kathy. I got my business cards 2 days ago.
Okay.
So now I've been making it a point to be more social in public, as Kathy said. But then, like you say, not knowing what else to say, it's like, okay, where do we go with this conversation to move it forward? So I was just definitely using this week as practice to get in that mindset of just talking to people.
Yeah.
In spite of the pandemic, which makes it kind of difficult because a lot of people, you're like, do I talk to you? Do I back up from you? I don't know. Everybody's different. So
Yeah, first of all, I would maybe even, I'm sure I could find a list somewhere on Google, but like just asking people random questions about themselves. Like, where do you live? Are you from here? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? What do you do for work? What does your spouse do for work? All these kind of things. And then they just start talking. And whether it's about real estate, it's irrelevant. You just want them to talk, because when they talk, they have fun. Okay. People love to talk about themselves. And if you allow them to talk about themselves, then it does a couple things. Number one, it gives you a lot of data, so you know how to help them in the future. And it builds rapport if you can steer the conversation where you want it to be steered. Now, like we said before, yeah, open-ended questions, exactly. Now, with the pandemic, you kind of got, like I've said this before, you kind of got, and I'm not trying to be controversial here or political here, but you basically got 3 groups of people. You got the people who haven't left their house since March, right? And are completely freaked out about this. And I get that, right? You got a lot of us who appear to be, taking appropriate precautions, yet still kind of being out in the world, right? And then you got the people that think it's a hoax, right? I'm not saying any of those people are right or wrong. I'm just saying when you're in the course of interacting with the public, you're probably going to be speaking with all of those types of people. And so you need to figure out how to, adapt and how to respect their boundaries at the appropriate time. Does that make sense? So if like
Yeah.
you say, hey, great weather out there today to the woman next to you at the grocery store line, and she clams up and she's like this and like tightens her mask, yeah, probably conversation's probably over. Right. But if you do that 100 times, you're going to find a buyer. I guarantee it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So remember, it's the 21st of the month. So you have to ask yourself, am I 3/4 of the way to my goal? Right? If you are not 3/4 of the way to your goal, then you have to say to yourself, am I interested in doing anything to fix this? Right? There's no mandate that you do it, as we know. But if you want to accomplish the things that you told me you wanted to accomplish 3 weeks ago when we set this goal, then let's get serious about getting back on track, right? So one thing that we discussed in the in the final PC 15th document that we reviewed last week is if you are below 75% of your goal by the 21st of the month, the agent must complete the following tasks. This is only for people that really want to get back on track, okay? Would you be willing to do a bold 100 daily until the appointments are held? Would you be willing to record your presentations and practice them even more with your accountability partner? Would you be willing to double the amount of times that you and your accountability partner speak? Right? Should you text each other every hour on the hour and say, hey, I added 3 people to my database this hour. What's your goal for next hour? Right? Are you willing to add some evening lead generation to your schedule? I'm not trying to I'm not trying to force feed this stuff to you. I'm just reminding you you're not winning.
Okay.
If you're off track.
Question. I
Yes,
guess
ma'am.
question for everybody. What would you say would be appropriate? Would you feel appropriate calling somebody after the hour of what? I feel like 6 o'clock is just, you shouldn't call anybody after 6 o'clock. I mean, what do you do?
I don't have any issue with that comment. Look, you guys can do whatever you want. Me personally, 8 o'clock. However, if you have a different idea in mind, then fine, right? Look, for everyone that yells at you for calling them late, there'll be another person that's grateful that you called them late. Just let it go, right? So if 6 o'clock is your hour and that's when you focus on your family, by all means, you just got to make sure that all your work is done by 6 o'clock. So that means you're probably going to have to be super intentional until 6 o'clock. And then that's just the beginning of another time block, which is 6 o'clock, phone goes away, paperwork goes away. I ain't dealing with real estate. It's time for family stuff. Right? And that, guys, is how you're going to end up with a balanced life. Is when you're working, you're all in. And when you're not working, you're all out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, you're not going to be able to snap a finger and make that perfect. I'm still not perfect at it, and I probably never will be. But every day I get better. Make sense? It's kind of like that picture that I sent yesterday. Right? What did it say? The only true security in life comes from knowing that every single day you are improving yourself in some way. Right? It's what I've been preaching forever, which is every day you need to learn something and meet people. Learn something, meet people. Learn something, meet people. And after a long time of doing that, you're going to have a lot of content, you're going to have a lot of education, and you're going to have a lot of people to share it with. Make sense? So from a group standpoint, we are pretty much right on target with the total number of appointments that we have had. Our goal this month is 65, and I've got a report of 50 so far. Okay, we're a little behind in listings taken. Our goal is 41, 17 so far. Okay, so what I would like to push you on a couple of things. Number one is, remember, your goal, I know this is different for everyone, but if you don't have a very specific goal, I'm going to encourage you to use this one, which is your job as a real estate agent is to set an appointment every week. You set one appointment every week, you hold 3/4 of them, you hold 3 of them, okay? You take 2 of them and you close 1 of them. and you will net 100 grand. If you want to make more than that, just do a little bit more. Okay. So if every single person were to hold 3 appointments, we would have nearly 200 appointments. We'd have over 200 appointments a month. So you got to ask yourself, if you can't do 3 a month, can you do 1? Right? There's some people that haven't done 1 yet in 2021. Come on, that's what we do. Let's get ourselves an appointment. Now, what I'm also noticing, and I'll end with this, is that I don't think one of 2 things is happening. Either we're not qualifying our people enough prior to the appointment, and what we're finding is that they're not ready to like commit, right, to sign paperwork, or we're not closing for the paperwork. Okay, we should be closing probably somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the time when we meet with somebody. Not closing. We should close 100% of the time, but we should get the paperwork signed somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the time. What I'm seeing is we're hovering around 1/3 of the time. So we've gone on 37 buyer appointments and only taken 12 of those buyer listings. So if you've done a good job at educating them, and you have explained to them the process and how you're going to protect them, and they seem to be intrigued and have some moderate interest in working with you, ask for the commitment. Let's get this paperwork signed, right? Once paperwork is signed, the whole attitude changes a little bit. Okay? There's a different level of loyalty and commitment that they have, not to mention the legal commitment. Does that make sense? So don't be afraid to push them for paperwork. Okay? If it's the natural end to a successful presentation. Okay? Any other thoughts, questions?
Yes. Going back to Deb Jolly's thoughts and what she shared yesterday, if for some reason somebody doesn't go with you, I liked that she says, ask for feedback, ask for why they didn't choose you.
Yes.
Help me improve. And feedback is the breakfast of champions. So, I think it might take a little bit of courage if you don't, if that doesn't come natural for you, but try it. I did that when I lost out on my first listing appointment, and I was like, oh, just curious, you come at it from a point of curiosity.
Yeah.
So, and it can just help you.
And I always I know this is maybe messed up a little bit, but I always used to come at it from a dating standpoint. I was like, hey, if this woman doesn't want to hang out with me anymore, I want to know why. What did I do wrong? Right? So let me figure out what I did wrong so I can fix it. I don't want to do the same thing wrong next time. I'm trying to get better here. Right?
And success is mathematical.
Ooh, tell me more about that, Corey.
Well, you just told us the 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right. These are not just like ideas that have been pulled out of the sky, guys. Gary Keller and Keller Williams have been researching top producers for 25 plus years. Right? We know these conversion ratios. So if we're not performing to the conversion ratios, we can identify gaps in our training. Right? I mean, for real, is there anybody on this call that I said, guys, I got a job for you. I'll pay you 100 grand, and all you got to do is make set one appointment a week. And 3/4 of them you ain't even got to go on. And I'll pay you 100 grand. Is there anybody that would turn that job down? Guys, that's our job. Right? We've already passed the test. We already have a license. We've already found a broker. You're already in a coaching program. Man, that's your job today. Does that make sense?
One more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
There are so many good nuggets in her. I took a bunch of pages of notes, and one thing that really stuck out too was that a lot of the top producing agents came from when there were market shifts.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in one right now. So we're kind of in this crazy place. So
I love that you
on-
brought that up.
on that note, we're going to be reading in our book club, The Shift by Gary Keller.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly when, but you know, you guys should participate. It's been a really good, we've, you know, the people who are showing up for that are really enjoying it. So if it works for you, definitely welcome you to try it out. Just let me know.
Cool. I think okay, I'm gonna come up with a little contest right here.
Can you, you said you got a book club?
Yeah, it's like a book study group. And so just if you want to, we do Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. for 1 hour. We do it via Zoom. So I'm gonna put this
You can put the Zoom link in.
sorry.
You can do,
There's
put
a
the Zoom
separate
link.
there's a separate WhatsApp group for it. Corey can get in touch with you to give you more details.
Yeah, and I'll put the information in I made a little kind of a flyer for it. So I'll put that in the WhatsApp group here, the WhatsApp chat. And then if you guys are interested, just contact me and I can add you to the WhatsApp chat for that.
Beautiful. I love that you brought that up, Corey. Love that you brought that up. Okay. You guys, Rose, we weren't too harsh on you today, right?
No, you guys are great. I wish I could have taken notes, but
Well, the good news is this has been recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube this afternoon. And then I'm going to come up with a little contest. Sometimes my prize is big and sometimes it's not big, but let's say whoever has the most appointments in the 3rd week of January, so the one that ends on the 24th, I have a copy of Shift that's never been touched. I mean, I have a bunch of copies of Shift. I've read it 1,000 times, but I have one that's never been touched that I will hand to you for free. Okay? Whoever puts the most appointments on the tracking page in the 3rd week of January will get a free copy of Shift. Okay? No strings attached. Okay, guys, I really, really appreciate your commitment to your business and love being your partner. And I will see you later.